Hello and welcome to English Journey with Story. Have you ever found a secret that your family kept from you? Today, I will tell you about a letter my mother hid from me for many years. This story is written in simple English, so you can enjoy the story and improve your listening at the same time. Now, let me tell you what happened. My name is Elliot Mercer. I was 29 years old, and I worked as a bicycle mechanic in a small town. I fixed bicycles every day. Some days were busy, and some days were quiet. I liked my job because I enjoyed fixing broken things. I lived with my mother, Claudia. We lived in a small blue house near the train station. It was not a beautiful house, but it was our home. I had lived there since I was a child. My father died when I was 12 years old. After that, my mother raised me alone. She worked at a school as a secretary. She worked hard to give me a good life. My mother and I were very close. Every Sunday morning, we had breakfast together. She made coffee for herself and eggs for me. We talked about simple things. Sometimes we talked about my work. Sometimes we talked about our neighbors. Sometimes we talked about nothing important. I believed I knew my mother very well. But one rainy Thursday, I started to feel that something was wrong. That afternoon, my bicycle shop closed early because rain was coming through the roof. I went home before dinner. When I opened the front door, I heard my mother talking on the phone. Her voice was very quiet. I could not hear the other person, but I heard my mother clearly. "He must not know yet," she said. I stopped in the hallway. I thought she was talking about me. Then she said, "Please give me more time." I felt confused. My mother was usually calm. She did not hide things from me. So why was she speaking like that? I stood there for a few seconds. Then I heard her say, "He has already lost enough." The call ended. I walked into the kitchen. My mother looked at me and quickly put her phone down. "You are home early," she said. "Yes." The shop closed because of the rain. She smiled, but her smile looked strange. "Are you hungry?" she asked. "A little." She started making dinner. I watched her carefully. "Mom, who were you talking to?" She did not look at me. "Just someone from work." "Is everything okay?" "Yes," she said quickly. "Everything is fine." I wanted to believe her, but something did not feel right. That night, I could not sleep well. I kept thinking about her words. He must not know yet. Who was she talking about? What did she mean when she said I had already lost enough? Around 2 in the morning, I heard a noise outside my room. I opened my door. My mother was walking down the hallway. She was carrying a small wooden box. I had never seen that box before. She walked into the storage room and closed the door. I stayed in my room. I wanted to follow her, but I decided not to. The next morning, everything looked normal again. My mother made breakfast. She put 2 pieces of toast on my plate and gave me a cup of coffee. "You look tired," she said. "I did not sleep well." "Why?" "I heard you walking around last night." She became quiet for a moment. "I could not sleep," she said. Then she smiled. I did not ask about the wooden box. I was afraid of what she might say. For the next few days, I noticed more strange things. My mother checked the mailbox every morning. Whenever the mail arrived, she looked nervous. One Saturday morning, I was standing near the front door when the mail arrived. I opened the mailbox. There were several bills and some advertisements. There was also one white envelope. I picked it up. Before I could look at it, my mother came toward me. "Give me that," she said. I looked at her. She quickly took the envelope from my hand. Is it important? I asked. No. Her answer came too quickly. I looked at the envelope. There was no return address. There was only one name written on the front. My name. Elliot Mercer. I looked at my mother. Why does it have my name? She did not answer. Instead, she put the envelope inside her coat pocket. I will take care of it, she said, but it is for me. I know. Then why are you keeping it? She looked at me for a long moment. Please trust me. Those words made me more worried. Of course, I trusted my mother, but now I had many questions. That evening, I went to my room. I tried to forget about the letter, but I could not. Why did someone send me a letter? Why did my mother take it? And why did she look so afraid? Later that night, I heard my mother leave the living room. I waited for a few minutes. Then I quietly walked into the hallway. Her bedroom door was slightly open. I could see the white envelope on her table. I moved closer. My heart was beating faster. I reached toward the envelope. Then I heard my mother behind me. Elliot. I turned around. She was standing in the doorway. She looked sad. She walked toward me and picked up the envelope. Mom, I just want to know what this is. She looked down at the letter. I know. Then please tell me. She was silent for a few seconds. Finally, she looked into my eyes. I need you to promise me something. What? Promise me you will not open this letter. I could not believe what I was hearing. Why? Because you are not ready. Ready for what? She looked at me with tears in her eyes. I cannot explain everything tonight. I felt angry and hurt. Mom, this letter has my name on it. I have the right to know. She nodded slowly. Yes, you do. Then why are you hiding it? She held the envelope tightly. Because I am afraid. Those words made me quiet. I had never heard my mother say that before. She was always the strong one. She had raised me alone. She had helped me when I was sick. She had stayed beside me when my father died. But now she was afraid of a simple letter. I looked at the envelope again. My name was still there. Elliot Mercer. I did not know who had sent it. I did not know what was inside. But I knew one thing. My mother was hiding something from me, and whatever was inside that letter could change my life forever. I looked at my mother and asked one final question. Mom, is this letter about my father? She suddenly stopped breathing for a moment. Then she looked away. That was when I knew. There was something about my father that I had never been told, and the letter was going to tell me the truth. My mother did not answer my question. She stood near the bedroom door and looked at the floor. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. I could hear the rain outside and the sound of the old clock in the living room. Mom, please, I said. I just want to know the truth. She looked at me with tired eyes. Your father has been gone for 17 years, she said. I know that. There are things about him that I never told you. My heart started beating faster. What things? She shook her head. Not tonight. I felt angry. You always tell me that honesty is important, but now you are hiding something from me. She looked hurt by my words. I am not trying to hurt you, Elliot. Then tell me what is inside the letter. She held the envelope against her chest. I cannot. I walked away because I knew I was going to say something worse if I stayed. The next morning, my mother acted normally again. She made breakfast and asked about my work. I answered with short replies. I did not want to fight with her, but I also could not forget the letter. At the bicycle shop, I made several mistakes. I put the wrong tire on a bicycle and forgot to call a customer. My friend Miles noticed that something was wrong. You look like you did not sleep, he said. I did not. Is your mother okay? I looked at him. Why do you ask? You talk about her all the time. Today, you look worried. I thought about telling him everything, but I stopped. My mother is hiding something from me. Miles became serious. What kind of thing? I do not know. That was the worst part. I did not know. During lunch, I received a phone call from an unknown number. Hello? A man spoke on the other side. Is this Elliot Mercer? Yes. My name is Thomas Reed. I need to speak with you about your father. I stood up immediately. My father? Yes. I walked outside the shop. What do you know about him? The man was quiet for a moment. Your mother never told you? No. I think you should ask her first. Who are you? My name is Thomas Reed. I was your father's friend many years ago. My hands became cold. Where did you get my number? I have been trying to contact your mother for a long time. Why? He did not answer directly. Your father asked me to keep something safe. What did he ask you to keep? A letter. I stopped breathing for a moment. What letter? The letter you are holding in your mind right now. I looked around the street. People were walking past me, but everything suddenly felt far away. Is it the same letter my mother has? I believe it is. Why did my father write it? Thomas took a slow breath. I think it is time you learned what happened. Before I could ask another question, the call ended. I stood outside the shop for several minutes. My father had written a letter. Someone had kept it. My mother had hidden it. And now, after 17 years, a stranger was calling me about it. When I returned home that evening, my mother was sitting alone in the kitchen. She looked at me and immediately knew something had happened. You spoke to someone, she said. Yes. Her face became pale. Who? Thomas Reed. She closed her eyes. For the first time, I saw real fear on her face. You should not have spoken to him. Why? He cannot help you. How do you know? She stood up. Because I know what he wants. What does he want? She walked toward the window. He wants to change the past. I became frustrated. I do not care about the past. I care about the truth. She turned around. You think the truth will make you feel better? I think lies make me feel worse. She looked down. You are right. Her voice became softer. Then she went upstairs. I followed her. She opened the storage room and took out the wooden box I had seen several nights earlier. She placed it on the floor. This belonged to your father, she said. I stared at the box. Why have I never seen it? Because I was afraid you would ask questions. She opened the box. Inside were old photographs, a watch, some papers, and a small blue notebook. I picked up one photograph. It showed my father standing beside a young woman. I had never seen her before. Who is she? My mother looked away. She was important to your father. My stomach tightened. Who was she? My mother did not answer. I looked at the photograph again. The woman was smiling, and my father had his hand on her shoulder. Was he in love with her? My mother finally spoke. Yes. The word hurt more than I expected. But he was married to you. I know. I looked at my mother. Did you know about her? Yes. And you stayed with him? Yes. Why? My mother sat on the edge of the bed. Because I loved him. I did not know what to say. For years, I had believed my parents had a simple marriage. I remembered my father as a quiet man who fixed things around the house and carried me on his shoulders when I was young. Now I was learning that he had another life. Did he leave us for her? My mother shook her head. No. Then what happened? She looked at the blue notebook. That is the part I never wanted you to know. I waited. My mother opened the notebook. Inside were several handwritten pages. She turned to one page and stopped. Then she looked at me. Your father did not die because of the accident you were told about. I felt the room become completely silent. What do you mean? He was sick. What sickness? He had a serious heart problem. I stared at her. But you said he died suddenly after the accident. I lied. The word came quietly. I felt tears building in my eyes. Why would you lie about that? Because your father asked me to. I could not understand. My mother took the white envelope from the wooden box. I stared at it. You already opened it? She nodded. I read it many years ago. Then why did you keep it? She looked at me with tears in her eyes. Because your father wrote something that I was not ready to accept. I reached for the envelope. She pulled it back. Not yet. Mom, I need to read it. I know. Then please give it to me. She looked at the letter for a long time. Finally, she placed it in my hand. But before I opened it, she said something that made my heart stop. Elliot, your father did not write this letter to say goodbye to you. I looked at her. He wrote it to tell you who your real family was. My fingers began to shake. I slowly opened the envelope. There was only one page inside. The first line was written in my father's handwriting. My son, there is something your mother has never told you. I read the sentence again. Then I looked at my mother. She was crying, and suddenly I was afraid to read the next line. I looked at the first line again. My father's handwriting was old, but I could still recognize it. I had not seen it for many years. My hands were shaking as I held the paper. My son, there is something your mother has never told you. I looked at my mother. Why did he write this? She wiped her tears. Because he wanted you to know the truth one day. I looked back at the letter and continued reading. My son, if you are reading this, I am probably no longer with you. I wish I could tell you these things myself. I wish I could watch you grow older. I wish I could see the man you become. I stopped reading for a moment. My eyes became wet. I had forgotten how much I missed my father. I continued. You may hear things about me that will hurt you. You may think I did not love your mother. You may think I wanted another life. But please remember one thing. I loved your mother, and I loved you more than anything. I looked at my mother. Then why did he leave? I asked. He did not leave, she said. I looked at her in confusion. What do you mean? She sat beside me. Your father never left us. I read the next part. I met someone before I understood how sick I was. Her name was Evelyn. She was a nurse at the hospital where I went for treatment. She helped me when I was frightened. We became friends, but I never wanted to leave your mother. I looked at the photograph again. So she was a nurse? My mother nodded. She helped your father during his illness. I continued reading. I know your mother saw us together many times. She believed I was hiding something terrible. The truth was different. Evelyn knew my heart was getting worse. She was helping me understand my illness. I felt confused. Why did Mom think he was cheating? My mother looked down. Because I did not know the whole truth. She took a slow breath. Your father did not tell me everything. He was trying to protect me. I looked at the letter again. My son, there is another truth. I had a daughter before I met your mother. I stopped. A daughter? My mother looked at me. Yes. I could barely speak. You had a sister? My mother nodded slowly. Her name was Lily. I looked at the photograph. Where is she? My mother did not answer. I felt fear rising inside me. Mom, where is she? She died when she was very young. The room became silent. I looked at the letter again. My daughter was born before I met your mother. Her mother could not take care of her. I wanted to raise her, but I was young and afraid. I made a terrible decision. I gave her to another family. I could hardly breathe. My father had another daughter, a daughter he had never told me about. I continued reading. Your mother knows about Lily. She found out after we were married. I wanted to find my daughter, but I was afraid of what would happen to our family. I looked at my mother. You knew? Yes. When did you know? Many years ago. And you never told me? She began crying. I thought I was protecting you. I felt angry. You kept my sister from me. I know. You let me believe I was an only child. I know. My voice became louder. How could you do that? My mother covered her face. I was afraid. I walked away from her. For a few minutes, I stood near the window. I wanted to leave the house. I wanted to shout. But another question was growing in my mind. What happened to Lily? My mother looked at me. She died when she was 24. Why? She had a heart problem. My body became completely still. What did you say? She had the same heart condition your father had. I looked at the letter. Suddenly, the words seemed different. My father had not written the letter only because he was dying. He had written it because he knew something about me. I quickly read the next paragraph. My son, I have asked doctors to check your heart. Please do not ignore this. Our family has a history of heart problems. You may feel healthy, but you must get checked. I looked at my mother. Did you know this? She nodded. Your father asked me to make sure you were tested. Did I ever get tested? No. Why not? Because I was afraid. I could not believe it. My mother had hidden the letter because she was afraid I might have the same illness. But there was something else. I read the final part. I also need you to know that Lily may not have died as you were told. There was a mistake in her medical records. I was trying to find the truth when I became too sick. I looked up. A mistake? My mother looked terrified. What mistake? I do not know, she said, but Dad wrote that there was a mistake. I know. Then why did you never look for the truth? She became quiet. I tried. What happened? She pointed toward the wooden box. There is a phone number inside. I opened the box again. Under the old photographs, I found a small piece of paper. There was a name and a phone number. Thomas Reed. I remembered the phone call from earlier. I immediately called him. He answered after 2 rings. Elliot? I read the letter. There was silence. Then you know about Lily? Yes. Thomas took a deep breath. Your father asked me to find her. Did you find her? I found her family. My heart started beating quickly. What family? Her adoptive family. Where are they? Thomas gave me an address. It was only 30 minutes from my town. I looked at my mother. She knew what I was thinking. Elliot, you should not go alone. Why? Because there is something else you need to know. I waited. My mother reached into the wooden box and took out another photograph. She handed it to me. It showed a young woman standing beside an older couple. I looked closely. The young woman had my father's eyes. She also had the same small mark beside her left eyebrow that I had. My hands began to shake. "Is this Lily?" My mother nodded. "Yes." "But you said she died." "I believed she did." I looked at the photograph again. Then I noticed something written on the back, a date, and a sentence. "She is alive." I stared at those 3 words. "She is alive?" My mother started crying. "I do not know." "But this photograph says she is." "I found it inside your father's things after he died." "Why did you never tell me?" "Because I was afraid of what we might discover." I could not understand how my life had changed so quickly. Yesterday, I thought I was a bicycle mechanic, living a quiet life with my mother. Now I knew my father had hidden a daughter. My mother had hidden a letter, and there might be a woman somewhere who was my sister. I looked at the address Thomas had given me. "I am going there." My mother stood up. "I am coming with you." We left the house together. The rain had stopped, but the sky was still gray. During the drive, neither of us spoke. When we reached the address, I saw a small white house with flowers near the front door. I walked toward it. Before I could knock, the door opened. A woman stood there. She looked at me for several seconds. Then her eyes became wide. She looked at my face and whispered one sentence. "You look exactly like him." I could not speak. She began to cry. Then she said my father's name. And I knew that the truth was finally standing in front of me. The woman stood in the doorway, looking at me with tears in her eyes. I did not know what to say. I had spent my whole life believing I was an only child. Now I was standing in front of a woman who looked at me like she had known me forever. "Are you Lily?" I finally asked. She nodded slowly. "Yes." My heart began beating hard. "My name is Elliot." "I know," she whispered. My mother was standing behind me. Lily looked at her and became very quiet. "You are Claudia," she said. My mother nodded. "I'm sorry," my mother said. Lily looked confused. "Why are you sorry?" My mother started crying. "Because I knew about you." Lily looked at me. "You knew?" I nodded. "I just found out." Lily stepped away from the door and invited us inside. Her house was small and warm. There were family photographs on the walls. I saw pictures of Lily as a child, as a teenager, and as a young woman. In one photograph, she was standing beside an older couple. "That is my mother and father," she said. I looked at the photograph. "They raised me." I smiled sadly. "They look kind." "They were," Lily said. "They loved me very much." We sat together in the living room. For several minutes, nobody spoke. Then Lily looked at me. "Did our father really write you a letter?" "Yes." "What did he say?" I told her everything. I told her about his illness, the hospital, the old photograph, and the family heart problem. I also told her that he had spent his final years trying to find her. Lily listened quietly. When I finished, she wiped her eyes. "I always wondered why he never came for me." My mother lowered her head. "He tried," she said. Lily looked at her. "But I never knew that." "I was afraid," my mother answered. "Afraid of what?" "That finding you would destroy our family." Lily was silent. Then she said something I will never forget. "You did not protect your family. You protected your fear." My mother began to cry. I looked at Lily. She was right. My mother had spent 17 years believing that hiding the truth would keep us safe. But the secret had not disappeared. It had grown heavier every year. I took the letter from my pocket. "There is one more thing my father wrote." I read the final lines. "My son, if you find Lily, Please tell her that I never stopped loving her. I was afraid, and I made mistakes, but she was always my daughter. Do not repeat my mistakes. Do not let fear stop you from loving people honestly." Lily covered her face and cried. My eyes filled with tears, too. For the first time, I understood why my father had written the letter. It was not only about secrets, it was about regret. He had waited too long to tell the truth. I turned to my mother. "Why did you hide this letter for so many years?" She looked at me. "Because I thought the truth would hurt you." "It did hurt me." She nodded. "I know. But the lie hurt me too." She looked down. "I know that now." We stayed in Lily's house for several hours. We talked about our father. Lily told us about her childhood. She told us that she had always wondered about her birth family. She had never hated the people who raised her, but she had always felt that part of her life was missing. I told her about my childhood. I told her how our father used to carry me on his shoulders. I told her how he taught me to ride a bicycle. I told her about the last Christmas we spent together. Lily smiled through her tears. "I wish I had known him." "I wish you had too." Before we left, Lily gave me an old photograph. "This belonged to our father," she said. I looked at it. It showed my father holding two small children. One was me, the other was Lily. We were both very young. I looked at my mother. "Why did he have this?" She smiled sadly. "Because he never forgot her." That evening, my mother and I drove home in silence. When we reached our house, she stopped at the front door. "I'm sorry, Elliot." I looked at her. "I know. I should have told you years ago." "Yes." She took my hand. "I thought keeping the letter closed would keep the pain away." I squeezed her hand. "Sometimes keeping the truth hidden only makes the pain last longer." She nodded. The next morning, I made an appointment with a doctor. I wanted to understand my family's medical history and make sure I was healthy. I also asked Lily to get checked. We did not know what the future would bring, but for the first time, we were facing it together. A few months later, Lily and I became close. We talked every week. Sometimes we met for coffee. Sometimes we visited our mother's house together. My mother slowly changed too. She stopped hiding things. She started talking about our father honestly. She told us about his good choices and his bad choices. She admitted that he had made mistakes, but she also told us that he had tried to correct them before he died. One Sunday morning, we sat around the same kitchen table where my mother and I had eaten breakfast for years. There were 3 cups of coffee on the table, one for my mother, one for Lily, and one for me. I looked at them and smiled. For years, I thought my family was missing something because my father was gone. Now I understood that my family had been missing the truth. The letter had been hidden for 17 years, but it finally brought us together. I learned something important from that experience. Love does not mean protecting people from every painful truth. Sometimes real love means telling the truth, even when it is difficult. Secrets may seem safe for a short time, but they can create deeper pain when they stay hidden for years. My mother hid the letter because she was afraid of losing me. Instead, she almost lost my trust. But forgiveness gave us another chance. I still miss my father. I still wish he had told us everything himself, but I no longer feel angry when I think about him. I remember his mistakes, but I also remember his love. And whenever I see that old letter, I remember the lesson he left behind. Fear can make us hide the truth, but honesty can give people a chance to heal. That is what happened in my family. One letter opened an old wound, but it also helped us find each other. What can we learn from this story? This story teaches us that hiding the truth does not always protect the people we love. Sometimes, secrets can cause more pain than the truth itself. We also learn that fear can make people make difficult choices. Elliot's mother hid the letter because she was afraid of hurting him, but the secret slowly damaged their trust. Another important lesson is that everyone makes mistakes. Elliot's father made mistakes, his mother made mistakes, and Elliot also felt anger. But people can learn from their mistakes and try to make things right. Most importantly, the story teaches us about forgiveness. Forgiving someone does not mean forgetting what happened. It means choosing to move forward instead of allowing the past to control your life. The biggest lesson is simple. Sometimes the truth hurts for a moment, but a hidden truth can hurt for many years. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. I hope this story helped you practice English while also giving you something meaningful to think about. Remember, sometimes the truth can be painful, but honesty can help people heal. Now, I have 3 simple questions for you. Have you ever kept a secret from someone you love? Do you think Elliot should forgive his mother? What would you do if you received a mysterious letter? Write your answers in the comments because I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for spending your time with me. Keep listening, keep practicing, and keep improving your English. See you next time.